Potter, who was, identified by an educational institution as being a potentially promising candidate. I don't suppose an owl came swooping through the door and said, "Isabella, we want to talk to you." How did the Knowledge Society find you, or you find it?
Yeah, so I actually heard about the Knowledge Society. One day I was upset over something, and I was on the subway. And I wasn't listening to music, and I heard these two strangers, who I had no idea who they were, talking about this thing, like innovation program. And I was like, whoa, my life was just kind of meh. I was a regular high school student, like I didn't really do much. And then I was like, yeah, I want to change my life. And then, so I looked online and I saw this program. I was like, whoa, this is so cool. And like, my entire life, everyone at school would be like, oh, why are you so curious? Why are you asking all these questions? Like, just stick to the curriculum. And all my teachers would just limit my potential. And then I joined the Knowledge Society, completely changed my life. And I was exposed to all these really big thinkers and big ideas. And I was kind of just told, like, oh yeah, you could do things. You can make a difference. And then, sort of, yeah.
Now, when you and I were talking, earlier, and you just mentioned it now, it's not as if you were, a conspicuously gifted student, and people said, "Oh, we need to give her enrichment material." You were frustrated and irritable, but you were essentially curious.
Right. Yeah, I was always really curious, but like I think the school system just doesn't develop people to be curious. I think I was always really limited by my surroundings and my immediate environment until I was placed in an environment, TGAS, where everyone wants to become the best version of themselves. Everyone wants to learn about quantum computing and artificial intelligence, and everyone has this energy where all we're about is improving. And I think once I was placed there, I really got to harness my full potential.
Well, when you engaged in the socially reprehensible behavior of trying to have discussions in class, I believe that some of your teachers would just say, I'm sorry, could you just stick to the lesson plan?
100%, yeah. And I think that was, it was the first time when people were like, yeah, just don't stick to the rules. And then I kind of grew up believing like, oh, I have to just listen to what everyone says. I have to become a doctor, an accountant, and even maybe that wasn't my actual desire. And even my parents, they kind of grew up in this area where it's always about stability, and it's always about following the rules and just not asking too many questions.
Which does make me wonder what kind of negotiated settlement you've arrived at with your parents and your public schools and so on. I don't suppose you're showing up in class and doing quantum computing under the desk. How do you manage your time?
Yeah. School isn't my favorite place.
I'm sure the feeling is entirely mutual.
Anyone that works at the Knowledge Society, I spend lots of my time there because I really enjoy the environment. So my deal with school is I like to read the textbook and show up on the test days. And it's been a really good strategy because I don't have to spend my time, because I feel like school is where everyone kind of shoots for the averages. Like everyone wants to get 100%, and we're all fighting for this mediocre goal. It's not like if you get 100% on your math test, you're going to start the next Google or Facebook. In order to actually do that, you have to be super unconventional and do things that other people didn't do. So not going to school is a personal choice where I really get to spend a lot of my time working on myself and developing myself, reflecting on myself, and also just learning about all these really amazing technologies, which school just doesn't endorse.
Makes you what would happen if Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg had dropped out of elementary school instead of dropping out of Harvard.
As for my parents, I think open communication and just having them aware of what they're doing, and sometimes they just don't know what to do with big ambitious kids that have these big dreams, and it's almost like they're almost scared for me. They think I'm just gonna one day fall and just lose all my momentum, and I'm not gonna be able to fall back on something.
All parents are scared for their children.
Right, exactly. So it's about maintaining the grades to the point where my parents are happy.
I quoted Andy Grove earlier on the subject of management versus leadership. He also said something else, which is that parents are always coming to him, being scared for their kids, wondering, what do I tell my kid to study when I don't even know the name of the job they're going to have? And one of the things he said was, I tell parents, I have no idea what the major your child will study is going to be called, but if they learn everything they can about computers and biology, they'll be fine. Most students, I think, trend toward the computer side because there's a lot of buzz about data science is going to be the next big thing. But you have, in fact, triangulated on the notion that studying the complexity and the self-evolving character of living systems is a really important thing to combine with the disciplines of evolutionary algorithms.
Yeah, I think I've really been interested in the intersection of different technologies, and I honestly like learning about everything. I'm just a naturally curious person, and I enjoy just dissecting the world because I find it so interesting. But in terms of evolution and evolutionary like computers, I find it's because what I think is humans are made super imperfectly, and Ray Dalio actually wrote this in his book. But he was talking about how we're imperfect for the reason of always improving. And if everyone was perfect, evolution wouldn't happen. And Aristotle talked about being a thinker and how he was put here to think. And then I kind of thought about it. I was like, yeah, I think I'm here to think, and I think I'm here to make the world a better place and actually make an impact and impact billions of people throughout my life solving these big problems. So combining nature and imperfection, trying to figure out solutions is kind of just, it's in my nature, and I really enjoy the actual process of problem solving.
You used an obscure term earlier. I think the word was cheerleader. I don't think this is something that you see yourself as ever being. You're not going to be on the sidelines saying to other people, hey, great job. You're going to be saying, oh, that's cool. I can combine that with this other thing that you didn't think about, and we can do this.
Yeah.
How do you view that kind of a collaboration? Do you find that people are generally welcoming of that, of the fact that you come in and say, hey, what about this? How do you do
I think new ideas are really interesting. So I like learning about complex aspects of the world and finding the intersections. Because when you think about specialists, people that specialize in something don't actually, I think, let's say you were really good at computer science.
Yes.
Maybe learning about evolution, that's who came up with the evolutionary algorithm, someone who had knowledge of both of these types of things. So having different perspectives is always super important. And I think the people who are super open to growth and growth mindsets, people that are actually influencing the world and making an impact, are open to new ideas and new perspectives. So I'm really conscious about the people I surround myself with and making sure I'm always with the right people in order to accept my interesting perspective of the world and new ideas.
You're reminding me of something that was said by a speaker at our World Tour event in New York, which I guess was two days ago. He runs an organization. He's written a book called Not Impossible. Does anyone remember the name of the guy? He's gotten a lot of buzz lately. Ebeling.
Mike Ebeling.
Who?
Mike?
Yes.
Mike Ebeling.
Mike Ebeling, yes, thank you. And he said, and this may be an overgeneralization, but not by much, that everything that we regard today as ordinary was once considered impossible.
Totally, yeah.
Being plastics or antibodies or antibiotics or other things. And I wonder if you feel that among your advantages is that you don't have 30 years experience in learning what can't be done.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I don't find my age limiting at all.
Apparently not.
Nope, I don't. I think it almost gives me an advantage because I get to be super, I get a lot of support from people. The expectations for youth are so low. You don't.
That's my problem.
I think I get really interested about the world, and I don't think nothing's ever going to get in my way in terms of age and experience. And I think experience is something you just can get over time, and it's about making the best of the situation you have right now, which is why I really like gratitude, because I get to appreciate every single moment without worrying about the next breath of air, the next big thing, and I get to really be present and enjoy myself right now. So in terms of not having 30 years experience, I think learning how to learn is definitely one of my best acquired skills, where I'm able, if I don't know calculus and I'm doing something with machine learning, I can just go and figure it out. And the internet has all these really cool resources, like Khan Academy.
I've heard that.
Yeah. And there's academic papers everywhere. So if I'm missing this gap of knowledge, I just go fill it in on the internet. But if I wasn't born in this day and age, I wouldn't have that advantage. So I think the problem with a lot of youth is they just don't take advantage of the internet. They spend their time on Snapchat. Whereas I think it's more beneficial to learn about smart people and just learn about really interesting things and develop yourself and your curiosity.
Well, it's not just the youth. Isabella, unfortunately, you're too young for us to make this a drinking game, because if we had to take a shot every time you use the phrase, I get really interested, neither of us would be able to walk off the stage. So while we are both still able to walk, thank you so much for your time. It's the best.